Oh, hey guys, good to see you again. Look, I am very sorry I haven't uploaded any videos for the past weeks. That is because I was so busy with this musical. Yes, I was in a musical about the legendary Gibbon warrior, Rentap. And I myself, I portrayed James Brooke, the Rajah of Sarawak. Hey, why don't you come along with me as we find out more about the Brookes, the Rajahs of Sarawak. Good idea? Okay, let's go. Let's go. So for the past weeks, I've been busy practicing my lines on stage at the Sarawak Cultural Village for this musical. Now, I had never been on stage before, so I was quite anxious for this whole ordeal. But in the end, it went really well. I learned a lot, and the last performances in front of hundreds of people went really well. So in this musical, I portrayed Rajah Brooke, the ruler of Sarawak all those years ago. And this musical was about the various battles that went on at a specific location called Bukit Sadok, a mountain where multiple battles went on between the Brookes and Rentap, the Gibbon warrior, who didn't really agree with the Brookes. So of course, this whole musical was dramatized, there were a lot of songs, there was dancing, there were some love scenes as well. And in the end, I really enjoyed it. So, who were these Brookes actually? And what were these British folks doing all the way on the other side of the world here in Borneo in the mid-1800s? Who were they? Let's find out. Selamat pagi.
Apa kabar?
Bagus.
Bagus. Hello.
Mr. James Brooke arrived here in Sarawak in 1839 on his ship, the Royalist. Then he helped the Sultan of Brunei suppress the pirates that were in this area. And as a thank you, the Sultan of Brunei gave Mr. James Brooke a large area of land. A year later, James Brooke was named with the title of the Rajah of Sarawak. So the first Rajah, James Brooke, ruled Sarawak from 1852 until 1868. He was 65 years old when he died. During his rule of Sarawak, he set up the basics of a government. He worked together with the local tribes as much as possible, but he also fought with many local tribes. He tried to abolish piracy here, and of course, he tried to stop the headhunting. When James Brooke, the first Rajah, passed away, his nephew, Charles Brooke, took over reign as the second Rajah of Sarawak. He ruled the longest, from 1868 until his death in 1917. And Charles Brooke made perhaps the biggest changes here in Sarawak. He started the first museum in all of Borneo, the Sarawak Museum. He started the first boys' school here, and he pulled Sarawak into the modern age. Charles Brooke. So by the time Charles Brooke passed away in 1917, Sarawak had a parliamentary government, there was a railway here, and oil was discovered. When Charles Brooke, the second Rajah, passed away, his son, Charles Vyner Brooke, took over the reign as the third and last Rajah of Sarawak. Charles Vyner Brooke ruled Sarawak from 1917 until the Japanese invasion in 1941. Now, Charles Vyner Brooke worked very closely together. He ruled together with his brother Bertram, as was the wish of his father Charles Brooke. So during his reign, Charles Vyner Brooke made many changes to Sarawak. He banned Christian missionaries, and he worked very close together with the locals, the original people of Sarawak, and he fostered their traditions and cultures. Then rubber was booming, oil was booming, so the economy of Sarawak was booming, and Charles Vyner Brooke installed many laws and just made the government more settled down and took Sarawak into the modern age. So it is now time to explore the Brooke Museum. So let's go inside and learn more fun facts about this interesting Brooke dynasty. So this is Fort Margarita, named after the wife of Charles Brooke, the Ranee of Sarawak. And by the way, did you know that this fort is almost 150 years old? It was built in 1880. Let's go. So here we have the man himself, the first Rajah of Sarawak, Mr. Sir James Brooke. So this is what James Brooke must have seen when he first arrived here in Sarawak in around 1840, a long time ago. And he mentioned that he saw wooden buildings, wooden longhouses, and Kuching looks very different today than it did back then. Orang utan. So here we have it. This is the Royalist, the big ship that James Brooke sailed with to Sarawak. And how did he get all that money? Well, he inherited some money from his father, and with that money he bought the ship to explore the Malay archipelago and eventually landing here in Sarawak. Hey, look who it is, Sir James Brooke. How are you? So here we have a copy of possibly one of the most interesting historical Sarawak documents. This is the document that granted James Brooke the power of Sarawak, the power over Sarawak. And this was written by the Sultan of Brunei as a thank you to James Brooke, who stopped all the piracy that was happening here in this area. So how do you think James Brooke was so successful in stopping this rebellion, this piracy? Well, he had 6 large cannons that the locals didn't have. So shooting a couple of cannons made it all work. So the Sarawak flag was introduced by James Brooke, the first Rajah, and it was based on the coat of arms of his family, the Brooke family. Then when the second Rajah was ruling, Charles Brooke, he changed the colors and design of the flag a bit to represent the different communities here in Sarawak. So the Dayaks would give gifts wrapped in black cloth. The Malays would give gifts wrapped in yellow cloth. And the Chinese would give gifts wrapped in red cloth. So this flag represents the main communities that live and still live here in Sarawak. Then the crown is of course a very European British tradition. Right, let's head up to the next floor. So I'm always fascinated by these kind of windows. I've seen them in the Netherlands as well at different castles and forts, and it is a white looking point that is very narrow, has a slit just looking out. And do you know why? Of course, this is a fort, so it used to be attacked, and this is a way to keep the windows as small as possible so bullets and arrows cannot go through as much as a bigger window would allow. And from here you can shoot down and attack your attackers or defend your fort. So during the 1800s, many naturalists came to Sarawak to research the natural behaviors of animals here, plants, flowers, and all these natural things around that do not exist in other places on the planet. And one of the most prominent naturalists to ever visit Sarawak and do research here was Mr. Wallace right here. And did you know that Wallace co-wrote the theory of evolution together with, of course, the famous Darwin. There we have her, Ranee Margaret, the wife of the second Rajah, Charles Brooke. And we're here in Fort Margarita, named after her, Ranee Margaret. Yeah, so a badger. Why is there a badger here in the Brooke Gallery, do you think? Well, the badger is the animal on the coat of arms of the Brooke family. And again, why a badger? Because Brooke is an Old English word that means badger. There you go. Now you know. One more floor. Wow, top floor. The top of the world. The rooftop of Fort Margarita. So, Kuching looks very different now than it did when James Brooke first arrived here in Sarawak. It's definitely very different, and there's so much history about the Brookes that you can all learn about here in this really cool gallery, the Brooke Gallery here in Fort Margarita. I love history, I love learning about history, and whenever you're free, you should definitely come and visit this place. Now, this is the end of the video. I really enjoyed sharing the history of the Brooke family, the Brooke dynasty with you, because they made Sarawak the way that it is now, I guess. So, this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're free, just click that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed yet, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.